Don-O-Mite!
It's Dynamite!
Wednesday night, Don-O-Mite!
So Dynamite!
This is awesome! This is it, this is that, this is this! Hey, everybody! Have a great time!
It's Dynamite!
I'm not one of these f***ing goof podcasters out there. I am Don Tony, Wednesday night, Don-O-Mite! Good evening, everybody. It is August 26, 2020. No, I got my glasses here. Just figured I'd say hello before we start reading notes. I am Don Tony, and welcome to this edition of Wednesday Night Don-O-Mite. You all voted as far as what shirt we don tonight. It was down to either Abaddon or we wear Cody and Matt Cardona. Yeah, that t-shirt that I showed you on my Twitter tonight is real. It's legit. It's in the other room. Maybe I'll wear it Friday night for the Don Tony show, or maybe I don't know if we're going to do an AEW live recap tomorrow night. You know, I'm not sure yet. I mean, you think about it. We did a podcast Friday. We did 3 podcasts Sunday. We did 1 on Monday, doing 1 today. Then you got Friday. It's nonstop. Total nonstop Anthony. That's what you got. Total nonstop Anthony. Total nonstop Anthony. People know why I'm saying that. You know, we had NXT Takeover on Saturday. You know, NXT presented Takeover 30 on Saturday. Tonight it was NXT presents. We're not up against AEW tonight, so we better put our best tux on. We better put on a banger of a show. Maybe get some of those AEW Dynamite fans to stick around. That's what you got tonight. It's funny. People have always said for decades that competition is good. Going up head to head forces companies to amp it up a notch. What have I said before? That doesn't mean they have to fight on the same night. I made a prediction about a month ago. I said, you mark my words. By WrestleMania, AEW and NXT will not air on the same night pretty much permanently. Yes, you'll get preemptions from time to time, NBA, whatever it is, but one of them is going to move. And it seems that NXT might be the one that's going to move. And I wrote this tonight having a conversation with someone, and I'm going to reiterate something I've said before. If NXT moves to another night permanently, any AEW fan out there that gloats, and I'm an AEW fan, obviously, I don't buy this. So Abaddon maybe wants to give me a like or a thank you. I do, because I like her character, and I want AEW to push her. You know, you got to speak out. You want Abaddon featured a little bit more in AEW? People got to speak out. People got to support. You know, they see the merchandise sales. They see things increase. Hey, you know, maybe we got to feature a little bit more. But something I've said before, something I said a long time ago. I even said it back when Dixie Carter wanted to move TNA Impact to Monday nights. Going head to head could spell disaster. Because now you're asking people who are what? See, Dixie Carter's mentality was, well, we got 3-4 million fans tuning in on Monday night. You know, we could get some of those fans to join us, and we, you know, hey, wrestling is Monday night, so we already got 4 million people tuning in. All we got to do is give everybody a better show, and they'll change over. And look, Hogan's debut, what was the rating? 2+ million? Hogan's debut that night? But my point is this. Any AEW fan that gloats if NXT moves to Tuesday nights permanently or Thursday nights down the line, I don't like using this word anymore, and that's the word goof. But any AEW fan that gloats if NXT moves to a different night is a goof, because NXT moving to a different night only helps AEW. I have the quarter-hour breakdowns from last week's NXT, from this past Saturday's AEW Dynamite, AEW did a decent rating Saturday. Different night, not a night they're usually on, especially a weekend. A lot of people go out. Went up against NXT TakeOver for almost the whole show. But I think some people out there have a couple of screws loose because there was a big drop in AEW after quarter one, and they think that a lot of fans just got turned off after FTR versus Private Party, which honestly was one of my most favorite matches on Dynamite this year. It's just they didn't put two and two together that a lot of NBA fans that had NBA on their televisions, it went overtime, as far as TV goes, and they went back to their TVs and like, what's this, wrestling? I don't watch wrestling, and they changed the channel. That's why you saw the big drop the first 15 minutes. The rest of the night was a different story. But, that's when people don't pay attention to stuff like that. But if AEW fans gloat that NXT moves to another night, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. AEW and NXT will get over 1 million fans per show unless they absolutely suck. Because now you have all your fans glued to one show. And you know what'll happen? Sure. There are definitely going to be AEW fans who are now going to watch NXT maybe on a Tuesday or a Thursday. But AEW's also got to realize that NXT fans will now watch AEW because it's unopposed. It only helps both brands. Obviously, you have to bring it to keep those fans tuned into your shows, but there is no question that putting AEW and NXT on different nights helps both brands. There ain't no conceding, we forced you to move. You should be thanking NXT if they move. And if AEW moves NXT, even though WWE wouldn't do that, NXT should thank AEW to move into a different night. It just makes yours truly's work a little bit more complicated because when you do Wednesday Night Dynamite and you got both shows on the same night, I bang out both recaps in one night and I go, to get me some shut-eye. If they move to separate nights, another episode is going to have to be added every week here. But I got to tell you, tonight's NXT episode, even though the beginning was a little bit of a bummer, if you checked out my NXT TakeOver recap on Saturday, actually I recorded it Sunday, but I told you all he was relinquishing the title. See, how do I say this the right way? A lot of us are fans of Karrion Kross, some bigger fans than others. All right. But the thing is you can't let your fandomhood get in the way with reality and with common sense. Anybody with a simple Google search as far as shoulder separation and possible surgery knows 8 to 12 weeks minimum. And that's just for regular folk. That's for regular folk that the heaviest thing that they may lift all week long is a garbage bag or a shopping bag. And I brought this up on Sunday when somebody asked me about this as well. It's not just Karrion Kross recovering from a separated shoulder. It's also regaining a boatload of strength. You have a weak shoulder, that could be the difference of injury to someone else. And the person you're facing in the ring, they're putting their trust in your hands. So Karrion Kross, there is a good possibility, and that's why I wrote on social media earlier today, TikTok 2021. Karrion Kross may be gone for the rest of the year. But I'll be honest with you. Would you rather have Karrion Kross, a champion? I know you could say this about anybody, but would you rather have Karrion Kross as a heavyweight champion while we have no fans in attendance, or we got a LED wallpaper with wrestling fans on? And by the way, I got an invitation to appear on SmackDown's ThunderDome this Friday. Right now, I'm undecided if I'm going to dress up as Don Tony. No hat. I'm going to suit, everything, even though I'll sweat balls all night long. Balls is not a curse. I haven't cursed yet. Or I go as Deli Man. Or maybe I go as Don Tony and I'll just hold the styrofoam head in my arms all night long. I still got those goofy glasses somewhere. So I want to do it. The problem is I prepare for these shows, and there's a lot of behind the scenes work. And, you know, if I do ThunderDome, if I'm not on the TV side, maybe after a half hour, I just turn it off, because there'll be other people in the waiting room, you know, getting in. But if I'm, you know, featured, nice area where, you know, you could actually see me, I'm going to get animated. And I'm going to act like I think a wrestling fan should. Having the privilege, even though there's a lot of things wrong with ThunderDome, and I'll read you later what Jon Moxley said about ThunderDome, and Jericho as well. But, and I know we don't talk Raw and SmackDown here. I'm just bringing this up because Friday night when you tune in, if you see a box, you're like, hey, that kind of looks like Don Tony. Yeah, it is. But, you know, but the thing is that, you know, I see a lot of these fans. I don't care if there's a 3-minute tape delay. I don't care if it's a 3-second tape delay. You're featured right smack on your screen, right in the middle of TV, and you're sitting there like this. I licked the other finger. I mean, well, come on. How come you're not like this and getting animated and cheering and then Stu nuts. What is it, a requirement to take Xanax before you do ThunderDome? Where's the energy? You need somebody to give you a button, or Kevin Owens to get on your headphones. Everybody make noise! Put your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. And if you're a goofy podcaster with size 54 underwear, say, oh yeah. Stupid. Stupid. So you might see me Friday. But anyway. We don't have to do an AEW recap tonight, but we'll obviously do a little preview. Tomorrow's going to be a pretty solid show. Definitely want to talk about NXT tonight for sure. But Karrion Kross, you know, NXT opening up tonight, and Karrion Kross unfortunately having to relinquish the title. Oh, you know what? Before we even talk about that, we had a nice little treat tonight on NXT. We found out about it early in the night. But John Gold made an appearance. John Gold. How many of you have Sling TV? I moved from YouTube and Philo TV last month to Sling, and I brought this up once before. If I had $1 every time Sling TV showed the commercial for Stu Bennett's movie, I swear to God, I could picture it in my head. It goes on the TV. We need to do it. John Gold, you're a murderer. You're this, you're that. Poof. John Gold on TV today. Look, if you're not on Patreon yet and you join up, like I said, if you join up between now and September 1st, if you PM me on Patreon, I will refund whatever you subscribe for. You get the last week for free to go try it out. I know it's like a WWE Network special, but I've been doing that for 2 years. I just don't plug it all that much. And now with the DTKC show moving to Patreon, you know, you'll actually be able to get that. A new tier will be put up for the DTKC show. But my point is this, you know, I had a conversation today with Mish on Breakfast Soup, Patreon. We were talking about NWA in particular. And that was right after the news broke that Stu Bennett, Wade Barrett, was going to be doing commentary tonight with Vic Joseph. Now, if any of you out there that is going to wonder why Stu Bennett is there, you know, without, you know, just using common sense. Same reason why Corey Graves did TakeOver on Sunday. Mauro Ranallo does not want to travel to WWE Florida. So Mauro Ranallo, they're not doing a remote broadcast, which is interesting because if I understand correctly, Beth Phoenix was on, you know, simulcast. So, you know, Vic Joseph was there. You know, they felt that they needed a second person sitting next to Vic Joseph, and they weren't using Tom Phillips. So they went with this. You know, I'm not trying to cause any controversy here. Would not surprise me if we start hearing little rumblings that maybe WWE and Mauro Ranallo, maybe there's not necessarily a rift, but take note of that. TakeOver is a huge pay-per-view, especially 30, and no Mauro Ranallo. WWE cannot be thrilled about that. Do I think Mauro Ranallo will still do remote commentary? Yeah. In fact, when we talk about Super Tuesday, you know, a lot of people didn't get it, you know, with the Super Tuesday theme. You know, it's when people think Super Tuesday, a lot of people think politics. Oh, it's Super Tuesday. So that's why they called it Super Tuesday. They're not doing it because of politics, but they're doing it to give a little bit of hype next week. So, you know, Stu Bennett, Wade Barrett doing commentary today, everybody was reporting today that it's a one-shot deal, one and done, one and done. You see, a lot of you out there that checked out my preview for today's episode, what did I write today at 3 o'clock? That Stu Bennett's one and done deal, but Don Tony doesn't think so. I don't think so. I honestly expected him to do more than one broadcast. He's apparently doing next week's. Now, I think he may be doing next week's broadcast because it's being taped this week. He's there. So, hey, you know, let's hit two birds with one stone. Let him do next week's match as well. Now, a couple of things are very unclear as far as NXT next week. They've only announced one match, Iron Man match, 60-minute Iron Man match. For the NXT, well, I think it's better if I do this. For the NXT Heavyweight Championship, Karrion Kross having to relinquish the title due to his shoulder surgery. Like I said, you know, I'm not saying it to brag like I told you so, but simple research would have pretty much guaranteed it. You know, some people were like, oh, maybe they could cut promos or maybe they could work around it. Probably never had shoulder injury. Didn't bother to look. Serious, serious shit. I cursed, damn it. Trying so hard not to curse. I'll get it out of my system. You know, a lot of people know why I'm cutting down on the cursing. First of all, it's not needed. But second of all, you know, I got some opportunities that I'm trying to take that are being worked on, and I got to cut out most of the vulgarity. Once in a while, it slips through. But, you know, earlier in the night, Karrion Kross comes out. Once again, I made that mistake. He comes out with Scarlett, and he cuts his promo. And, you know, he talks about sometimes in war, there's injury on both sides. And Karrion Kross, unfortunately, has to relinquish the title. Now, I'll be honest with you. This might be me just being a little nitpicking, but my God, you know, William Regal, I remember Triple H, I remember Dusty doing it. I remember whenever there was big moments with titles, whether somebody won or somebody had to relinquish it due to injury, usually they come out there, you know, and to see William Regal cut the promo later on, you know, like, oh, you know, we wish you best wishes on your recovery or your long recovery. I kind of would have liked to have seen, yes, I know Karrion Kross's character. Maybe you don't want someone in the ring with him, but if you feel that way, you don't know Karrion Kross's character all that much. Karrion Kross could wear a suit and be very professional, and at the same time give you that look like, you know, don't come anywhere near me. So I kind of wish, it has nothing to do with just being a heel, Devin. It's not just that, but, you know, they put the title down. I liked putting the hourglass upside down, but now we have no NXT champion currently. So, and it's funny because when Tommaso Ciampa came out for his match, I went on Twitter and I did like baseball, you know, with the MC, like now batting, you know, for a pinch hitter. I wouldn't call Tommaso Ciampa a pinch hitter. But when Tommaso Ciampa, they advertised that he was returning today, I went on Twitter the minute that Karrion Kross relinquished the title, and I said, now batting for Karrion Kross, the next NXT Heavyweight Champion, Tommaso Ciampa. You know, just thinking outside the box. And then later on in the night, they announced this four-way. It's going to be Finn Balor versus Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Super Tuesday, 60-minute Iron Man match for the NXT Championship. Now, this is not going to be live, as far as I know. And because it's not going to be live, they're going to tape it this week. They don't have to tape a full 60 minutes, obviously, because of commercial interruptions. And they could tweak it and edit it and, really fine tune it. So a lot of people don't know. What is the deal next week with NXT? I'll be honest with you. I did not, unless somebody could tell me that I'm wrong. All right, a 6-man street fight. Who's going to be in the street fight next week? I don't know what other, how they're going to stack the other hour. One thing is for certain, you're probably only going to have 3 or 4 matches for the entire night. You'll probably have your opening match that'll be about 15, 20 minutes as far as on the clock. Couple of promos. The super chat, Neil, I'll get into yours in a minute, but could someone give me the street fight that is going to take place next week? It's probably what, Del Fantasma? Is that who's going to be fighting? Breezango? Are you kidding me again? Isaiah Swerve Scott and Breezango. I have been saying this for over a year, maybe 2 years plus. And when Breezango went to NXT, and by the way, I didn't see the announcement for the match. I must have been in here setting up everything, but I saw all of NXT. They must have announced it right before a commercial. But anybody that follows my show on a regular basis knows that I have been frustrated with Breezango not being a champion. I said it last week on Wednesday Night Dynamite. Once we found out what, the match was this week, when they won last week, I said, please, let them win it once. A lot of people don't realize they've never won a title. No tag titles, never. Main brand, NXT, AXT, nowhere, none. And I don't understand why it took this long. So I was really, really hoping that they would win the tag titles this week. And lo and behold, they win the titles. That picture is kind of shangada when you look it up close, but they won the tag titles. Absolutely love it. Really, really happy for these guys. Again, so many of us have been rooting for Breezango to get tag titles for quite some time. But I'm not going to lie to you. It feels like they're going to be transitional champions. I don't know if that group, that tag team, was Indira Shear, the ones that screwed up by, one of them posting Keith Lee's double title win, spoiling it on the net. They haven't been around since. WWE's not going to keep them in the back forever. So I'm kind of concerned that Breezango, a month from now, may not have those titles. And that sucks, to be honest with you. But, tonight's show, definitely, I don't know if you could compare it to their pay-per-view type shows that they have done this year, like the Great American Bash, but damn, this was an excellent episode of NXT. I mean, from top to bottom. Sure, there might have been a match here or two that was kind of just going through the motions, or maybe just to set up storylines for the future. But personally, I thought it was one of their best episodes this year. And you know what? I said this the other day, and I haven't changed my mind yet. Give me that small, live, energetic crowd, even though it's dark, even though it's 1 or 2 rows, but give me that loud banging on the plexiglass, chanting, yelling, screaming, cheering, jeering. Give me that instead of LED screens with soccer noise all night long. Soccer noise, We'll talk about ThunderDome on Friday. Since that show is targeted for that, I just screwed up again. Yeah, this is Don Tonia. You know what it is? I got to close some of these boxes when I'm doing this. But Neil Ray says, do I bleed from my ears or my eyes when watching Impact? I got news for you. Night 2 of Emergence for Impact was pretty damn good. But it blows me away to say it this quickly. But that Wrestle House stuff has really gone to crap, to say it nicely. It was funny week 1, week 2. You know, it was interesting. It was kind of like Legends House meets, you know, other goofy stuff. But it got so ridiculously stupid so quickly. I mean, I understand things being a little bit exaggerated because of the Wrestle House, but it doesn't entertain me. And to be honest with you, with this Emergence stuff going on, you know, them hyping this 2-week event for Emergence, they should not have had Wrestle House on either week, because in my opinion, it really brought down the rest of the show. Look, I have praised Impact quite a bit, and Impact I do cover here and there, but that stuff that they had on with Wrestle House, I just looked at everything else. That 30-minute Iron Man match with Deonna Purrazzo versus Jordan Grace was excellent. I mean, even RVD's match, you know, I saw a lot of people saying that this might have been RVD's best work in over a year. It was a great match. And to see Moose and EC3 and even Eric Young, Brian Myers had a hell of a match last week. And you mix it with this Wrestle House. I know you got to fill, you know, up time. But, man, talk about something that just brought down the show. You know, I mean, you know, there's some eye candy involved as well, but still, I mean, it brought me down. It brought me down. So, you know, go check it out, you know, but I would fast forward through the Wrestle House stuff, you know. Some of it is funny, but, you know, Rosemary in a Bar and those things with Sinister Minister, those things to me were better than this stuff. So, but anyway, couple other tidbits, some feedback regarding tonight's NXT a little bit. Ken Terminated says, a damn shame that Kross dropped the title tonight. Could have been a better heel champion, Adam Cole. You know what? I don't compare the two. And the reason why I don't compare the two is their characters are so different. Kross is like a methodical, maniacal, almost like bipolar. I don't want to use bipolar, but just like split personality, you know, snap on a dime. Adam Cole is more like conceited, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, I'm better than you, and this and that. I mean, Kross does that too, but it's just two totally different characters. Totally different. But it is a damn shame. But this is what I was going to say before. And you could say this about any champion right now. Give me Karrion Kross as a heavyweight champion when fans are back in arenas. You know, his promos are methodical and catches your attention and is not meant for a live crowd to react to them while he's talking. Utter silence when he's being methodical and talking very educated, you know, that's something that, you know, brings your attention. So in that way, not having live fans there actually doesn't hurt him. But, you know, Karrion Kross, to me, you know, I'd rather see him as a champion when things are much more back to normal. But I ask you, when it's time for him to come back, you know, a lot of people say, oh, when he comes back, he should go right to Raw or SmackDown. He should go right to WrestleMania. He should go right to the Royal Rumble. You know, first of all, even though Karrion Kross has been an Impact in other promotions, you know, you look at ratings, again, you have to put your fandom hood aside for a minute and look at reality. You look at ratings, the Karrion Kross, Keith Lee stuff for the month. Those quarter hours, other than the first quarter when they had the Fireball segment, those quarter hours were not impressive at all. Now, we don't know if it's because of Keith Lee. We don't know if it's because of Karrion Kross. We don't know if it's because of just what AEW is putting up against them in those quarters. But the point is that, you know, a lot of people absolutely love Karrion Kross's character, as do I. But is he at the level yet that he's a household name with the WWE Universe, that if he comes out, he's going to get the crazy AJ Styles pop like he did in the Royal Rumble? You know, you cut his music, you might have, you know, a bunch of people at home yelling and screaming, but he doesn't have, it's still a carrot in the ground. that's just starting to sprout now. So personally, I think he might be better suited to show up right back at NXT, almost like what Ciampa did tonight, and pick up where he left off. And if he wins gold right when he comes back, so what? So what? You can't guess it now because you don't know who is going to be wrestling where by the time he comes back. He could still be on Raw. He could still, have the same people that are in NXT right now. By that time, Adam Cole could be on Raw or SmackDown. Ciampa, who knows with Ciampa, because we've heard, he doesn't want to go to the main roster. We Mia Yim tonight wrestling, but everybody's like, no, she's part of Retribution. And tonight could have been a little swerve. My point is, some wrestlers that you see on Raw right now may not be on Raw 6 months from now. They're supposed to do a draft later this year. Some more people may be released. So you don't know what the rosters look like when it's time for him to get back. So we got to wait. When he's ready to come back, then you evaluate the rosters, and then you see. Why would you want Karrion Kross on SmackDown right now if Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, The Fiend, Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, there's 5 people right there that are definitely much higher on the food chain, no matter what your fandomhood shows. So it's going to be a lot harder for him to leapfrog some of these people. You want to see him versus Roman Reigns and lose repeatedly? There's too many people to leapfrog. That's why you have to wait. I'm not saying not to bring him to the main roster, but you have to wait and see what the rosters look like when it's time for him to return. I tell you, as stupid as this sounds, I hope one of the rosters suck. I hope one of the rosters is filled with holes, because that'll give him a better opportunity to come back and make an impact right away. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I obviously wish him a very speedy recovery. Definitely, this sucks no matter what. But, it is what it is. Injury happens. But next week, one of these 4 guys is going to be your next NXT Heavyweight Champion. And as I wrote, way before Ciampa had his match tonight against Jake Atlas, squashed him like a grape, way before William Regal made the announcement, I said, I think Ciampa might be the perfect person to replace Karrion Kross right now as the NXT Heavyweight Champion. I kind of like, they obviously want to have a heel as Heavyweight Champion right now. I could see Ciampa doing it. So we will see. And by the way, Gargano tonight cut, very simple promo in the back, just reflecting on how he escaped a serious neck injury and possibly retirement last week when he got dropped on his head by Ridge Holland. Remember what I said last week? That they could use that and tweak his character a little bit, tweak his personality a little bit, be a little bit more serious, still have that cocky persona about himself, but be more serious. That's what you got tonight. And I loved it. Gargano has not rubbed off on me the right way since they did all this stuff with Candice LeRae. And it goes back to that night with that camera stuff. Like I said, I honestly thought I had vertigo when I was watching all that camera crap going on in the house. But tonight's promo connected with me. Simple. Less is more sometimes. And I absolutely enjoyed it. Absolutely enjoyed it. So we'll see what happens next week. Neil wants to know, do I think the women need a U.S. or Intercontinental title? Hell no. Hell no. You look at the women's division. Right now it seems like Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai might be the next feud. Yes, they teamed up tonight. Yes, they lost. But they had a little bit of miscommunication. By the way, that tag match to close out NXT, excellent. Excellent. Raquel Gonzalez has been the side person for Dakota Kai. And tonight she showed that she does have some cred in the ring. I thought that match was excellent. But in the end, though, I just personally think you're going to see Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley go at it a little bit. But no, I don't think they need a secondary title. You know, we're having a hard time right now building up some people. I mean, look, you look at even Dakota Kai. There were a lot of people saying last week, where does she go from here? You know, you look at some of the people, hell, with Retribution, you don't even know what people from NXT could possibly be involved in the Retribution storyline. And if that happens, you know, are they going to be on NXT anymore? So I think it's really, really too soon. But down the line, a secondary women's title, not a bad idea. But right now, they need to better utilize the women now. And you know what? When I get into the quarter-hour ratings, you know, I understand people complaining about the lack of women's wrestling on Dynamite, sometimes the lack of time that women get on some of the WWE programming. But at the end of the day, and this is what they need to remember, it is a business. Nothing more and nothing less. It's a business. Sure, people are rewarded sometimes for their ethic and their dedication, hard work, and going over and beyond when they were needed the most. But in the end, it's a business. And when you see quarter-hour ratings taking massive drops for certain women wrestling, and it happens over and over and over again, you can't turn around and say, we got to still put the title on this person or still showcase this person because she's a woman. You're not going to see it happen. You look at AEW's quarter hours, which I'll get in again. And this is why I get into the quarter hour ratings. Excuse me for a second. It's getting hot in here. I try not to put the air conditioner. I know you all can't hear it at all, but just even that little bit of noise, that annoys me, man. I try to be as perfect as possible. Oh, and by the way, the 46-inch monitor came in today. I'm not going to be able to hook it up until the weekend, but Neil and everybody else, your chats, everybody's chats will be right smack in my face from now on. It looks like a WWE Studios. Wait till I take pictures of it. I could have like 7 windows going at the same time, and I'm even going to hook up my second computer to take calls in the very near future. Everything is on the screen, and what I love about it most is that all I need is one mouse, and one mouse can control both computers at the same time. So I actually could have my second computer on my same monitor, hover the mouse over there, and actually operate the second computer at the same time. Oh, man, you don't know how excited I am. Like I said, you know, I know some people are upset, you know, still that I moved on from audio only to this, but it's moments like that people, you know, understand why we do what we do. And plus, you know, when we show things, it's cool to show photos. It's cool to put things up, and that's what Ciampa was wearing today in the ring. It's cool to be able to show you things throughout the show. Just like right now. Earlier today, I took the YouTube clip from Wednesday Night Dynamite 2 weeks ago. I said, everybody on that clip, if you post a comment, you are eligible to win this. It is still in the box. The other day I dropped the box accidentally, but inside here you have the Beckett authenticated, you know, to show that it's the real deal. It's numbered, and inside is the Kenny Omega Funko Pop, autographed Funko Pop. It's Beckett authenticated. So 2 weeks ago on Wednesday Night Dynamite, all you had to do was post a comment in the YouTube section and you were eligible for the contest. So earlier today, I used that program that I use that will randomly select someone's comment on that thread. And once again, I need to remind everyone, because we're doing another contest tonight. You're all welcome to be part of it. If you post 10 times in 10 different comments, it does not give you 10 entries because the program only includes people's names once. So no need for you to write 10 different comments. It doesn't give you a better chance to win. But tonight, you know, we're going to give away the Kenny Omega. Might as well do it right now. I did the program earlier, randomly selected a winner. I recorded it so you could see it in real time, and we have a winner. And then right after you see the winner, I will introduce the next prize. It will be available in 2 weeks. We'll pick a winner in 2 weeks, and I'll give you the instructions there. But here is how it went down earlier today. Here is the winner for the autographed Kenny Omega. Now, you only have 1 week to claim it, and that's what I've always said before. You know, some people, they stop by, they enter the contest, they don't pay attention to the shows, and they leave, which is fine. But that's why I don't plug the contest on Friday or on Monday or the following Wednesday, because I only want the people who really enjoy these shows to be part of it. So I try to put it in during the show where people least expect it. So here is your winner, randomly selected earlier today, of the Kenny Omega autographed Funko Pop. Oops. Kevin K. And the K does not stand for Castle, unfortunately. But hey, you know what? If he posts a comment and he was selected as a winner, I'd give him the prize. Seriously, I'm not kidding. But Kevin K., if you see this, you are the winner of the signed Kenny Omega Funko Pop. You have 7 days to claim it. All you got to do is send me an email, dontony@dontony.com, and I already know his profile, so we don't, if any other Kevin K send me an email, and it's not him, I know, or you could PM me. No, it's not Kevin Cross, by the way, but I am working on getting something signed by Kevin Cross, Killer Cross, Karrion Kross, from WWE. You know, we gave away that signed photo from his California autograph signing last year, related to I don't think it was Lucha Underground. I don't remember, but I have 2 more of those signed photos still. So we have more to give away. But what we're going to give away in this contest, and I said, you know, maybe it's still a little early because a lot of people are not that familiar with her yet, but a lot of you out there are fans of Ivelisse. And back on that autograph signing, you know what, let's put a little bit bigger. Back on that autograph signing with Karrion Kross and Scarlett, Ivelisse was there as well. It was June 22nd of last year. And she signed this hat that she wore. I guess she wrestled like the next day or the day before. No, it was the day before because she wouldn't have autographed it and then wore it wrestling. But she autographed it, signed not only on the front of the cap, but the back of the cap, and it's Beckett authenticated. And the only reason why I'm putting this little photo in the corner, and I definitely want to, you know, make it look a little bit nicey, is to show you that it's the real thing. See? I'm not that good of a forger, everybody. So this is authenticated. She signed it on the inside as well. See? Ivelisse. So that is her hat. It is in perfect condition, and it does come Beckett authenticated. It is serial numbered, so you could go on Beckett's website and you could type in that number and you could see for yourself that it is 100% legit. It was witnessed, and that is the prize. All you have to do is on this episode, you post a comment. But you know what I want to do? I want to add one additional thing, so people remember to do something specific. And if I could pull it up very quickly, yes, I can. You got to do this. You got to put hashtag WND for Wednesday Night Dynamite. So I don't care if you put it at the beginning of your comment or the end of your comment. If you don't put hashtag WND, that program will not select you. Because when I choose the winner 2 weeks from now, you put in a requirement, and I'm going to type in hashtag WND, and it's going to look for everybody that has that hashtag, and it'll randomly pick a winner. So, look, I'm not going to lie to you. Don't post it here in the chat. You got to post it on the YouTube page with the comment section. It doesn't review chats. But the thing is, you know, I'll say it bluntly. If you win and you're not an Ivelisse fan, throw it on eBay and get $200. You win it, you do what you want with it, you know? So there you go. Good luck to everybody who takes part. And, oh, you mean Friday? Oh, yeah, no. If I do Thunderdome Friday, I'm probably going to wear the Podfather shirt. I was going to wear the John Gotti shirt to be full-fledged Don Tony, but, you know, I think just wearing the Podfather shirt would be fine. So, but thank you. Thank you. Oh, no. You know, nobody did anything wrong by putting, you know, in the comment section, WND in the chat. I just don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying. Put it in the comment section. And you got to write something with it. I mean, don't just write hashtag WND. You know, just write something with it. You know, something you thought about NXT or AEW. And we'll pick a winner in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks will be a week after All Out. Because remember, this Sunday is Payback, WWE Payback pay-per-view. The following week is AEW All Out. So we got 2 more pay-per-views going in 2 weeks. It's crazy. It's crazy right now. But I tell you, I think one thing everybody could admit, that even though we're still in COVID, wrestling, you have to admit, has become more interesting the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe month. Not everything is good. The Retribution stuff is god-awful. I've been saying it for weeks. The reveal is going to be the most important part of it. But overall, wrestling has been a lot more interesting the last month. But as I said before, and I want to bring up Stu Bennett again, you know, I personally feel, and I had a great convo with Mish today on Breakfast Soup about this, NWA by far has suffered the most because of COVID. Dave Lagana leaving was a huge loss. That is just anybody that signed up for their Patreon for Carneyland that is no longer a member, or maybe you're just trying to stick it out, you know how much their Patreon has dramatically declined in the last month with Dave Lagana leaving. And Mish was bringing out specifics earlier today. They have like a $2 tier, I think a $5 tier, $10 tier, and a $50 tier. And he said that when you add up the number of people on their Patreon, they'd be lucky if they get $1,000 a month. Zicky Dice gone. Ricky Stark's gone. Some of the women that was on that roster, gone. And Stu Bennett, they're still saying one-shot deal. Oh, you know, maybe another appearance. If WWE brings back Stu Bennett, Wade Barrett, on a regular basis to do commentating, you know, look, he's no Mauro Ranallo, obviously, but he is that wise-ass announcer that I said AEW needed since day one. How many people remember in the first 2 or 3 episodes of Wednesday Night Dynamite, AEW wasn't on the air even a month, and I said AEW needs one of their commentators to be a wise-ass, to be the Bobby Heenan, to be the Jerry Lawler, to be Jesse Ventura, to be the Constructed Chaos, the Corey Graves. And I said, sign Taz, sign Taz, sign Taz. Taz I thought was a great fit. NXT right now, you got Beth Phoenix. Whoa, that was awesome. Unbelievable. I'm not making fun of her, but I'm saying, like, she's very positive. You know, praises everything. Mauro Ranallo, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia. You know, Vic Joseph, oh. You know, Corey Graves, he doesn't do it on a regular basis. Where's the constructive catalyst? Where's the wisest? Where is the instigator? Where's the person that cheers the heels? Nobody thinks about that with NXT. NXT needs that. And Stu Bennett tonight was more down the middle and not, you know, completely being a heel. But Stu Bennett on the NXT announcing team would be a tremendous addition and a huge loss for NWA. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Wouldn't surprise me if it did. Be very interesting to see if WWE and Stu Bennett could work out a deal. But, you know, again, I'm confident that Billy Corgan will turn around NWA, but this 20-year plan is probably like a 25-year plan now. because it's going to take them a hell of a long time to recuperate some of the names that they lost, the momentum. You know, and they can't maintain some wrestlers, and the months keep going by. And I know they just worked out this deal that they're going to be on pay-per-views with some other company. You look at the advertisement today for that pay-per-view that they're going to do in the middle of September. I hardly saw NWA mentioned almost at all. It was this whatever stuff. You know, it doesn't feel like an NWA pay-per-view. It feels like, you know what it feels like? It feels like when you're going to a wrestling event and you got a big SUV and you pick up 5 of your closest friends. You're all going to this wrestling event and you're all excited. You're 5 of your closest friends, the 6 of you in the SUV, and you're just really excited. And then you got one goof that you're friends with, but you're like, you know, and they're like, you want to tag along? Oh, I thought you'd never ask. And he tags along because there's a little bit of room in the back. That's what it feels like with NWA. You know, like, hey, you want to tag along? You know, you want to be part of this? You know, we'll make it feel like you're important. And they're probably using the NWA for legitimacy as well. But it doesn't feel like there's any momentum involved with that. So I have confidence that Billy Corgan will recover. But I'm very curious to see what WWE does with Stu Bennett. I think that would be a great addition. The big question is, if you take Stu Bennett off of there, I mean, if you put Stu Bennett on there, who do you take off there? You know, I don't think Beth Phoenix is going anywhere. I know everybody out there says Mauro Ranallo is the best announcer in wrestling. So do you get rid of Vic Joseph? You know, I definitely think Tom Phillips is expendable. Tom Phillips is fine with the Raw and the SmackDown. So let's see. Stugatz. Not Stu Bennett, but Stugatz. Stugatz. So, I wanted to mention this quickly. Now, if you notice, we already talked about a lot of NXT. You know, I'll get into a couple of specifics in a moment. Get into some of your additional super chats. You know, actually, I do want to give a shout out to somebody right now. Big shout out to Devin M. He said, respect for me wanting to do better with the shows. You know what's funny? I'll say this. Dustin Rhodes, one of the very few people that I follow on social media. And Dustin Rhodes, if you look at his Twitter the last couple of weeks especially this week, you would think that he has hidden cameras in my house or he's watching my stuff. Like, I know he's not watching my stuff, but you see his tweets, it's almost creepy on how personal it comes across for yours truly, because today, he writes, and I quote, "When you're at your worst, they look down on you. When you are mediocre, they ignore you. But when you're on top, they resent you. You owe them nothing. Focus on yourself. Keep moving and shining your light as a constant reminder of how you choose better over bitter." And man, I wish you would have tweeted that Monday, because I could have just said that tweet and that would have been the end of it. You know, this is an extension of myself. And to be able for you to see me and get animated and talk and show video and show things and do contests and have, you know, visuals, you know, I mean, how do you compare that to just doing audio only? And simply because I want to do a little bit more, that I'm the bad guy, that I'm evil, that I'm selfish. I mean, every single one of you out there, you gotta go for yours. I passed up so many opportunities in the past. I passed up FM radio. I passed up satellite radio. I passed up opportunities to be featured in certain areas. And the reason why I passed it up is because our entire family that was doing shows, not everybody was ready to do that. So I figured, all right, you know, wait a couple of years and we'll all be in the right zone and we all do it together. That's what it was. And meanwhile, more opportunities came and went. And, you know, a lot of it involved video. And that's if people look far enough back, you'll see that I was talking about going video 2.5 years ago. But it just kept being put off. And I said, when am I going to do it? When I'm 70? You know, I've been doing audio only for 23 years. So I needed to expand. I needed to change. I needed to, you know, recreate and reinvent and expand, you know, what I do. And, you know, people are getting noticed. But I should just shut it all down because people that I do shows with don't want to do that. So you try to come to a compromise. And that's what it was. Some people will never get that, you know. And, you know, the audio only and the video stuff clashing, technical people that are into electronics and technical stuff, software, you know, doing behind the scenes stuff, they understand what I'm talking about. But people, and this is why I don't really get mad at even people on Monday that were taking shots at me, people that don't know that, you know, the technical stuff that goes on behind the scenes, you know, if they understood it, then they would understand why things happen the way they do. But honestly, full steam ahead. And again, it's only to make the Donzilla army bigger, more powerful, noticed by people out there. And, you know, it's pretty damn cool. I got a couple of PMs on Tuesday from a couple of wrestlers that told me, full steam ahead, man, keep doing what you're doing. And then I had somebody, you know, tell me this and this. And it's, you know, it's a nice little uplifting thing, you know. To see 20,000 plus check out the SummerSlam recap, that just blew me away. And that's just video. There's another 8,000 that was audio only. But it's awesome, man. It's awesome. And to think I'm only doing this for 7 months. You know, Lord knows if I would have started this 5 years ago, what it would have been like now. But, yeah, we'll see where it goes. You know, I'm having fun. So, by the way, I want to give a happy birthday to Chris Campos and a happy birthday to Roberto Romero. They both had birthdays this week. I will not reveal their ages, but they both had birthdays. And, you know, I have one posted on Patreon now, but I am going to post it on YouTube on a different thread, probably maybe even this weekend. I'm going to have a little birthday train. And don't post it yet. But when I put the clip up for the birthday train, all you got to do is just leave. You don't have to tell me the year you were born. You don't have to give me your social security number or where you live. Name, date, and month of when you were born. I'll give birthday shout-outs. So, yeah, Toongoon, it's almost at 21,000 on video right now. It was amazing because the recap went about 2 hours, maybe a little more. And when I was leaving, there was still about 1,600 people tuning in live on YouTube. And I felt bad. I didn't want to go. But, you know, we beat SummerSlam to death. And it's like, you know, I got to get myself a little bit of sleep, too. So it's awesome, man. It's awesome. So I wanted to mention this thing. And then, like I said, we don't have much else to get into tonight because AEW is not on. I will give you the quarter-hour rating breakdown from both shows last week. We'll run through NXT quickly because I already got into several of the matches. You know, my recaps are not, you know, like other podcasts out there. They'll just go match by match by match by match they match. You know, I do mine as we have conversation. When things come up, we talk about it. But I wanted to mention this also. Yeah, and we'll mention also Moxley and what Jericho said about ThunderDome, only because they're in AEW. But I wanted to mention this because, believe it or not, some of you out there actually may be interested in doing this, especially if you're into your local indie wrestling promotions and they may want someone. And believe me, I tell you, every wrestling promotion should be doing this already. So you may get a nice little spot on you don't have to be a wrestler, but you might actually, I'm not joking when I say this, every single one of you out there in the United States, because I don't know how to handle it overseas, but you have local indie promotions that you like going to, and you always wanted to do something for them. Like, remember me, you know, I worked for the ECW, the original ECW for the last year, pushing tickets through my hotline. You know, I didn't care. I felt like, holy shit, you know, ECW, I'm actually doing stuff for them, and I'm, you know, hanging out, meeting Paul Heyman and everybody else. It was just the coolest thing, even though it was just a tiny little part. So MLW is posting everywhere that they brought a, now again, I commend them for doing this, but once I get into this now, it'll only be 2 minutes, you're going to realize, all right, okay, I see why you're doing this. MLW issued this press release that they announced the hiring of a COVID-19 compliance officer, okay? And basically this compliance officer is to oversee the roster, to make sure that they're doing all the COVID-19 protocol, safety measures, having the right PPE and all that stuff. So that's a great thing. To hire someone to oversee, to make sure everything is safe right now, temperature checks, you know, everything, you know, that's a wonderful thing. And the interesting thing about it is if you do a Google image search right now, because the COVID-19 compliance officer, there is an abbreviation for it, and it is C19CO. C19CO. If you type that in on a Google image search, you know what comes up a lot? MLW, MLW, MLW. I'm talking the United States, just in general about COVID. MLW, MLW. I'm like, look at this publicity that they're getting. So I said, you know what? And I'm not exaggerating. I said, you know what? I got to see how I can be a COVID-19 compliance officer. You know, they bring somebody aboard. It's a pretty big deal. You're hiring someone on the payroll to just oversee COVID-19 at your events. You know, that's bigger than a doctor. You know, so I looked into it to see what is entailed to become a COVID-19 compliance officer. And what I found, and I kid you not, and this is actually a real deal. So thank you, Devin M. Again, I didn't leave that compliment up there to piss anybody off. But like I said, once I have the 46-inch TV, every window is open. So this will be so organized going forward. I'm so happy. I feel like crying, for real. It's awesome. I'm not really crying, but this is a real COVID-19. Oh, we got to make this bigger. That is a real COVID-19 compliance officer certificate. Yes, I superimposed my name. No, my last name is not Tony, but I just put that on there for a reason, okay? Just to show you that MLW, they're doing the right thing. They are definitely doing the right thing. But when you dissect this, you're like, oh, okay, this is more of publicity than anything else. Because any of you out there right now, if you go on healtheducationservices.net, healtheducationservices.net, you can either sign up and you can actually register to become a COVID-19 compliance officer, or you could go through a directory listing in the United States for your state, and it gives you a list of everybody who is certified to be a COVID-19 compliance officer. Now, do you remember when Sammy Guevara got suspended by AEW and they said sensitivity training? And you remember the video? I played a couple of minutes of the sensitivity training and how ridiculous it is. This isn't ridiculous, but here's the deal. All you need to do is pay $50 and watch videos for 2 hours. That is it. You go on that website, you pay them $50, and they have next week, they have a whole bunch of classes online. You pay them $50 and you reserve a time slot and you watch videos for 2 hours. Every few minutes, just like when I became certified for OSHA. Every few minutes, something will pop up on your screen. Press this to show that you're present. They can't see you, but $50 and 2 hours, and you could be working for MLW as a COVID-19 compliance officer. So when MLW did this press release and all these people, oh my God, they're going way over and above everything else. Let me tell you something. All right, seriously, Court Bauer could very well went on that website, paid $50, stood 2 hours on the computer, and he is a COVID-19 compliance officer. They could take any Tom, Dick, or Harry that works in their offices already. Hey, Bob, you want to be a COVID-19 compliance officer? You know, we'll pay you a couple of extra dollars. You know, so when you say you hired someone, they went on that website, emailed somebody who's compliant, hey, you know, could you, like, show up at our show? What do you think they get paid? It only costs $50 and 2 hours of going to school. And you get a certificate, and that is it. I honestly am thinking about taking it next week and actually screenshotting a couple of moments while I'm taking the class and put it online to show everybody, hey, look, everybody, I can work for MLW. Every single one of you out there could be a COVID-19 compliance officer for $50 in 2 hours. But every wrestling promotion should be doing that right now. Every promotion. And their own workers could do that. So when you see this, oh, we hired a compliance officer. What do you think they hired? What do you think? What kind of money you think? Seriously, you know what you do? And I invite you to do this. I would love for one of you to do this. I don't want to do it because, you know, I don't know. I don't want to do it. Go on that website, go into your local state, and there's a whole bunch of emails there. Email one of them and say, hey, I'm going to do a wrestling event. How much would you charge to show up at my event just to make sure that I'm in compliance with everything? What do you think they're going to charge? $100? If this was a great, crazy money-making thing, it wouldn't be a 2-hour course for $50. That's like a defensive driver class. That's like less than sensitivity training classes. So it's not dumb, Darren. It's not dumb at all. Every promotion should do it. But when, and I'm not trying to be a wise ass, but when MLW puts this press release up, we hired a compliance officer because we want to value our employees and we put them as part of MLW and they will do this and this and that. And then you realize they just go down a listing and anybody that they bring on, that person paid $50 and 2 hours of school. Every single person out there could become, every single wrestler out there could take the course. In fact, if I was MLW, all your wrestlers, give them $50 a piece and say, listen, we want you all to watch this 2-hour video. Every single wrestler on your roster could show up with the certificate so they understand what his COVID-19 compliancy is. So it's not a bad site. It's pretty cool. But my point is that when MLW makes it sound like they hired this unbelievably expensive person and their job is to oversee the PPE and make sure everybody's in compliance, what do you think they're doing? It's like the State Athletic Commission. Everybody's got masks. Everybody's temperature checked. You think they're going to be over there and start sticking Q-tips in people's noses? They're checking, remember the name, COVID-19 compliance officer. They're only there to make sure you're in compliance. They're not there to take care, it's to just make sure you're in compliance. So again, $50, 2 hours, you could do that. Go to your local indie promotion and say, hey, everybody, you know, I love your promotion. You know, a lot of wrestling promotions out there like MLW, they're hiring compliance officers to make sure that they're in compliance with everything COVID related. You know, if you'd like to bring me aboard, you know, I'd love to be a part of it. You don't have to do that much work. There's not that much work involved. And you could actually do something for your local wrestling promotion. You know, you charge them a couple of bucks for it. But even if you charge them $100 or $50 to be able to do something for your local wrestling promotion and you're helping them as well, you know, I think that's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal. So that's it. So go check that out. Go check that out. Let's see. One last comment about Stu Bennett, and then we'll get into the remainder of NXT. We'll talk about some ratings, a couple other little tidbits, and call it a night. Ken says, have I always enjoyed Stu Bennett's work as a color analyst in NWA Power and NXT. He thinks he's good, better than Cornette. You know what? I understand why you're saying he's better than Cornette, because Cornette still uses a lot of outdated references that a lot of people don't get. Not every outdated reference that Cornette says is disgusting or racist or people interpret as racist. You know, Cornette does a lot of analogies that people don't understand today. You know, you look at old episodes of Raw, and even Vince McMahon was guilty of this. And Rob Bartlett, I hated. Rob Bartlett, he's gonna puke. Rob Bartlett got me sick to my stomach, because not only did this guy suck, but I had to deal with this crap in New York. But they would use references, which at that time, Mauro Ranallo used it a little bit as well, and Corey Graves, but they would use so regionalized references that anybody outside of New York would not understand what the hell they were saying. And the thing with Cornette is Cornette uses a lot of outdated references that a lot of people don't understand. Stu Bennett doesn't do that. Stu Bennett is strictly about the people in the ring, and you know that is a huge plus. Now, Stu Bennett had to grow on me when he came into NXT. He replaced Cornette pretty much, but he does a fabulous job. He's got a very deep voice that gets your attention, and that's, you know, something that you need. Like I said, he is professional. He's sarcastic at times, but he's also professional. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. All right, a few people are asking about Jericho and Moxley with ThunderDome. I'll throw it out to you right now because it's very quick. Jericho actually liked ThunderDome. When he did his Saturday Night Special podcast last week, he was talking about it. He said it looked great. He said that it's excellent that WWE got out of the Performance Center. He said it looked like a warehouse that they were in. And he says, you know, he dressed it up nice, and ThunderDome looks cool. But he was a little confused as far as the fans. He said that a lot of fans were not making noise. He didn't know if the audio would be available from those fans. And I talked about the technical side of that, you know, on Monday. When you got fans that have a very Shangada internet connection, or they're on a very low resolution webcam, and their audio is really muffled, it might sound like static garbage noise through the speakers. Not everybody has a really awesome mic. I mean, even headsets would be tolerable, but not everybody has that. You know, you even see on the news. How many times have you seen on the news somebody gets interviewed and they're on a Skype call and you can't even like make out half the things they're saying, that the connection is so awful? So a lot of young fans don't have that advanced technology. So it is a lot harder to put their audio on SmackDown. But if you put it as part of the background, it could, you know, liven up a little bit of that soccer noise, that midfield noise. A lot of people on Monday didn't understand what I meant when I said midfield noise. And what that means is, if you ever watch a soccer game, when the two teams are around midfield and they're just kicking the ball back at each other and they're midfield, you hear just this steady noise. You don't hear too many chants, it's just steady noise. It's only when the ball starts getting close to the opponent's net, that's when you start getting like more of a roar, and you might hear some cheers and so this and that. But on midfield, it's just that steady noise. And when somebody hits an unbelievable move, or Retribution is beating the crap out of people, and you just hear soccer noise, like I said, give me NXT's crowd over ThunderDome, and I like it more. I absolutely like it more. It gives fans a reason to feel more interactive, but it just looks like LED wallpaper. So Jericho liked it, but some of it, he was confused a little bit. He compared it to the movie The Running Man, which I know a lot of you out there have heard people make those comparisons. The Black Mirror is another one. With Moxley, though, Moxley is basically going a different direction. He's going a direction that I have been saying, that if you got a piece of spoiled meat, you could put it in a brand new, beautiful looking package, beautiful packaging, put a little garnish and try to hide the fact that it's shoddy meat. But sooner or later, when you open that package and you actually dive into the product, you realize it's the same shoddy meat before. It's just nicer packaging, So Moxley, his quote was this. He says, so this book was written in 1953 by a guy named Ray Bradbury. It's kind of like a dystopian kind of thing, kind of like 1984, which I know a lot of you, George Orwell's 1984. But basically, he predicts in 1953 what 2020 will be like. He said it's trippy, Moxley. He says if you read it, you're like, whoa, the firemen, they burn books because they don't want people to be literate or smart or think for themselves. They just want to feed them all of this mindless entertainment. He says the Thunderdome made him think about that book because in the 50s, before computers, before social media, this author kind of imagined what it would be like. He says the thing was like your family in the parlor wall. So like in your living room, the wall would be filled with all of these faces that you communicate with and hang out with, kind of like what social media is now. And that's exactly what Thunderdome looked like. And, he's basically saying that Vince McMahon is the problem of WWE. And you can spicing it up with a Thunderdome feel and a beautiful looking lights and, effects and this and that. But at the end of the day, you have Vince McMahon behind the scenes running the gamut, and that is the problem. Look, how many of you out there honestly said Raw kind of sucked Monday? The first hour of Raw was horrendous, and that was Thunderdome. It was horrendous. Go back and look at hour one. Hour one was terrible, and there were parts of hour two that were terrible too, and three as well. At the end of the day, the newness of Thunderdome is going to wear off a little bit, and like I said, give me 30, 40 people around ringside like NXT tonight, live, chanting, cheering, jeering, shouting things out, trying to come off a little bit as organic than freaking soccer field noise, and then looking at ringside and you have people out there. My God, and I'm not even going to get into, all of the questionable stuff that showed up, but there were even people sleeping. It's so pixelated, those screens. So it's not like it's high definition that you could see people on the screen. And even if you did see people on the screen, what next? Oh my God, look, it's Rob. Oh, it's Rob. And then what? Crappy storyline? No, but Rob was on the screen. Anyway, everyone out there, if you're on Facebook, Timothy Michael Thayer. I'll put his link on the bottom later. He is a musician, and he does cover work for a lot of bands. And he's doing a live performance this Saturday on his Facebook page from 7 to 10 p.m. I know some of you out there are going to go check it out. I'm actually going to stop by his page on Saturday for a little while, probably before game night. So if you're not doing nothing Saturday night for maybe an hour, stop by his Facebook page. He's taking requests. He's going to be performing live. I think it's pretty cool. We'll go check that out. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about NXT. Then we'll get into some ratings. How long are we going so far? An hour 18? All right. It's going to go on to 2 hours, obviously, but we got plenty of time to fill in the blanks of what we didn't talk about yet with the show. Any remaining super chats that I might have overlooked, which I don't believe I have overlooked anybody. So, NXT opens up with Karrion Kross and Scarlett. They're in the ring. Karrion Kross with the sling in his arm. We don't know yet if he has to get surgery. I have not PM'd him because a lot of you have sent me PMs saying, you're friendly with him online. You talk to him privately. Send him a PM. Find out what's going on. I didn't want to, be like a journalist. Like, I was going to send him a PM, just say, look, man, I hope everything is good. How you doing and this and that. But I feel, this is just how I operate. I feel if he and WWE want to get into the specifics of surgery, therapy, combination thereof, severity, tear, separation only, let them be the ones to do it. That's not how I roll. If he sees this, obviously, we're all obviously praying for you, seriously. We could replace fall and pray for a little while to hope and pray. Get back sooner than later. But don't rush to return. The guy got the championship, so WWE obviously has faith in him to really carry the ball. So come back stronger than ever. And not going to compare it to Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns came back looking like a beast. So Karrion Kross could come back stronger than ever. One thing that will stink, and I'm not trying to be selfish about this, but with Karrion Kross now out for several months, maybe through for the remainder of the year, Scarlett will be off TV as well. So it's not just one person off TV, it's two. So just keep that in mind. So they open up and, he talks about, like I said earlier, that with war, sometimes everybody suffers. And, his shoulder is separated, but he loves it. It gives him life. But he's also a realist, and he understands what the situation is. That he knows WWE would not let him defend the title in his current condition. So, in life, there's obstacles. And, this is one of those obstacles. And he vacated the title. And, you had the forced reactions around the ring. Not really any cheers for relinquishing the title because of the character that he plays. But very professional about it. If I want to nitpick a little bit, it would have been cool to see maybe Triple H or William Regal, be next to him to accept the title. But then again, you also say they put it on the floor, little smoke, hourglass, little more like TikTok, I'll be back before you know it, to claim what I had to give up. But nice segment to open up. Then we had Breezango taking on Fabian Aichner and Marcel Bartel for the NXT tag titles. Really, really good match. I mean, WWE at one point, I thought, damaged Breezango so bad that maybe they were irreparable. I mean, when they had that title match that time, who did they face when they had the brooms in the ring and all? That night, I thought they were winning the titles. When they didn't win and they did that horrendous stuff in the ring with brooms and stuff, I was like, what the hell are they doing to these guys? Was it the Usos? Thank you, Toongoon, the Usos. I honestly thought they were winning. Ever since that night, I have been on the shows periodically, not every week, but periodically saying, man, how is it that these two guys have not been tag champions even once? Even once. Never. So last week, they won to become the number one contenders. I brought up that they recently had a title match also and lost. So, I was hoping this time around they give them the gold. Had a really fun match tonight, and in the end, they won the tag titles. Yeah, I know I showed this picture before, but I think it's worth it again. Stu Bennett is just looking at him like, what the, but that was cool. I kind of wish they still had like the more disco, type of theme playing, but I'll take Fandango's music. Look, I know you deserve it is a phrase that is used way too much in this era of pro wrestling. But those two guys, you kind of feel like they deserve it at least once. At least once. I just hope right now, they're not transitional. I almost feel like next week after Taj, probably next week, they might get jumped from some tag team, maybe a team that we haven't seen in a while, and then they ultimately drop the titles to that team. I just hope that's not the case, but I don't know. It just does not feel like, oh, Roberto was your baby. So Roberto, why'd you put your name on that list? But you know what? Happy birthday to baby sister, Roberto, baby sister. So that's cool. Hey, it's the thought that counts, right? So much love, man. Much love. But, man, when Fandango first came in, does anybody remember the YouTube thing that somebody did for me? Don-O-Mite. Remember that? Somebody actually took Fandango's, remember his original entrance video where he would actually talk, and somebody put like lips over it and actually did Don-O-Mite. It was just funny. It was so badly done, but it was just funny, man. But remember, you know, when Fandango first came out, remember everybody on the trains? Remember when Cena came out after Raw went off the air? You know, everybody in the arena, everybody, that's what they would do. Tungun never saw it. Tungun, go on YouTube, type in Fandango Cena, Raw, or after Raw, you'll see it. Type in Fandango Train, and they have vignettes of people all across the world doing, it's cool, man, it's cool. It's also depressing when you realize how many years went by. You remember who he beat in his debut match in the WWE? People that don't know, look it up. You may not like the answer, but so they win the tag titles. Good for them. I hope they keep it for a little while. I really do. I don't want them to be transitional champions. No. So next on the list, we had Mia Yim taking on Shotzi Blackheart. I enjoyed this match as well. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Shotzi Blackheart, if anybody has paid attention, Shotzi Blackheart has been a little shoddy. Shotzi has been shoddy. Shoddy Blackheart. Some of her in-ring work is sloppy. I still, to this day, nothing personal. Look, you know me. If you follow every week, I am a big fan of hers. I still think she actually would fit very well in the Riot Squad. I've been saying that way before anybody else has. I still think that when Randy Orton was taking some shots at some people on the NXT roster that were just doing these moves and injuring themselves or, you know, escaping injury, I always remember Shotzi doing almost like that coffin drop outside the ring and just went splat. Randy Orton's comment came out, I think, the same week of that move. And, you know, it was a fun match. It was a fun match tonight. She showed that she really can go. And she also, you could see that her in-ring repertoire is starting to tweak a little bit. She's not immediately thinking, I must do high fly spot. I must do high fly spot. She's doing more groundwork, a little more animated, and that works for her. That works for her. She is one person that, you know, when live fans return, the live fans are going to, if they're not already, they're going to connect to her like that. She is one that could do a lot less in the ring and still be tremendously over. Mia Yim, she obviously her talent speaks for itself. Mia Yim is awesome. I think some people forget how long Mia Yim has been wrestling. So she is definitely needed to help bring up some of the young stars. Her losing a match does not hurt her career, does not hurt her momentum. It's interesting that she came out tonight because a lot of people, you know, I did see that tweet where somebody wrote who they think is when Retribution closed out Raw. and they're standing on the apron. They put all of these people, Dio Madden, me and Yim, Dominic Dijakovic, and it very well could have been completely right. The thing is, though, is maybe they were all put on under the mask Monday because they wanted a quote-unquote wrestler beatdown of a wrestler. They were doing wrestling moves for the most part. Even the punches and kicks were wrestling kicks and punches. So they wanted good NXT stars to be laying the smackdown on the Mysterios. So they stood there tall, but, you know, I don't know if WWE's going to be careless, and then when everybody's revealed in the end, you know, you're going to have somebody that's going to put a still shot from this past Monday and a still shot when they reveal, and you'll be like, that doesn't look like the same people. This person's eyebrows doesn't match. This doesn't match. So we don't know. So me and Yim being in the match today, I think threw some people off. And they're probably saying to themselves, wait a minute, she was on NXT. So is she still part of Retribution? We don't even know if she's part of Retribution. You know, people are guessing right now. And some people will guess correct. But, you know, there's a big difference between guessing and saying, oh, I reported it first. There are people out there trying to report it as news, but they're guessing. They're guessing. Like I said, the reveal is the only thing I care about. And we'll talk about it more on Friday because I want to see what happens Friday on SmackDown. And again, earlier today I did Breakfast Soup with Mitch on Patreon, and we talked about how we could have made the storyline cool. And he came up with some ideas, and I came up with some ideas, and we'll share them on Friday. I think you'll really like it. And I'll also explain why, in my opinion, the storyline was destined to fail. You know, Antifa was never cool. You know, you look at the videos on TV of reality. Was that ever cool to anybody out there? So, you know, this was never a cool thing to see. But, you know, we talk about ideas to tweak it a little bit. So, but Shotzi Blackheart, you know, decent match with Mia Yim. Absolutely liked it. Mia Yim loses no momentum whatsoever. We had a couple of backstage segments tonight. One was with Damian Priest talking about he's still celebrating that he won the North American title. Bronson Reed talking about his aspirations regarding the North American title. And Austin, don't call me a member of Seth Rollins' disciple. Don't call me a disciple. Austin Theory is back on NXT TV. You know, a lot of people know about some of the controversy with Austin Theory. Right away, I went on social media today, and, you know, I'm surprised they didn't start trending Fire Austin Theory. People are now going batshit. Curse number 2. They're going nuts. They're having a meltdown that Austin Theory is back. You know, oh my God, look, here's another person that WWE is just sweeping under the rug. You know, I'm still waiting for an actual investigator. All these people online have all this proof. They're convinced. How come none of them are filing a complaint? Any one of you out there could file an anonymous complaint, or you could leave your name if you want. If people out there have evidence of these people doing this stuff, you know, the reason why they don't file a complaint is because if an investigator outside of WWE comes back and says, no, there is nothing, apparently the guy got hacked or this is not true, now they have nothing. You understand where I'm coming from? By you not getting an investigator, that gives you the opportunity to still bash whoever you want to bash, demean whoever you want to demean, insist whatever you want to insist. You say it repeatedly long enough, you start believing that it's true. So nobody out there wants to just send it to file cyber complaint. Nobody does that, not even the victims or the alleged victims, because if they send it out, they're rolling the dice right now. They don't want the truth. They want it to remain as is because they will always be looked at as a victim for the rest of their lives. They will have a form of popularity and sympathy and empathy from a group of people on social media. that will never leave until Dream, Theory, anybody else, until they are proved. It's no longer innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent. And there's no way to prove otherwise right now. Well, there is ways with forensics, but they don't want the truth to come out. Because if the truth comes out and there is nothing, that's it. All the focus on them goes out the window. All of the attention for years and years and years being labeled the victim goes out the window. Then they become the irrelevant person that they were before this. And if you think that that doesn't happen in this world, then you are either one of the most naive persons alive, or you're just brain dead stupid. Because people on social media are craving for attention, you know, and it's a shame. And I've given up addressing that about particular people, because I've realized that there's a lot of other people who sympathize with those people because they do the very same thing. You know, when the focus comes off me a little bit, you know, oh, pray for me for this, pray for me for that. Oh, I was thinking about this. Oh, it's the anniversary of this in 3 weeks, and oh, and this and that. Oh, you know, this might happen. Oh, and when that wears off, then it's the next thing. And when that wears off, that's the next thing. It is flooded on social media. It happens in politics too. It's terrible. But again, for everybody out there, why don't these people file a cyber complaint? Let the investigators do their job. Why did they lie originally? Yup. Why did they lie? We called the cops. Complaints have been filed. Courts have been filed. Yup. Why did they lie? Yeah, I'm not trying to convince anybody, but I need to remind everybody this when you see somebody like Austin Theory back on TV. Why did they fire Jack Gallagher? Was there any physical proof? Was there camera footage? Did we have GTV? Or did we have the hacker in the hotel room where he's playing, you know, pocket pool while that girl was sleeping? You know? Yes, he admitted to a little of it. But the point is, there's other people who were let go that deny it to this day. Why were they let go and some others? Don't give me, well, you know, Dream has a little bit more value than somebody else. That's not the case, you know? So, anyway. VJ, just do a Google search on Austin Theory, and you'll see what comes out. Better yet, go on Twitter and type in Austin Theory and click on the top the word latest. And you'll have all these people refreshing, giving you a refresher course as far, and what they insist why he should be fired. Tommaso Ciampa just flat out destroyed Jake Atlas. Felt bad for Jake Atlas because you knew that he was getting nothing in this match. Ciampa just destroyed him. Before the match, well, once the match started, after the match was over, it was funny because there was one referee. They were all trying to stop Ciampa from the after-match beatdown. And one referee is like, "Why are you doing this? He never did anything to you." Ciampa, in storyline, should have taken that referee and literally just squeezed his head until it exploded, Scanner style. I mean, pro wrestling, heels, beatdowns, destruction. To hear a referee, "Why are you doing this? No, he never did anything to you." I swear, I just want to bash a baseball bat over that guy's head. Ooch Nupin, wow, what the hell is your stuff mean, man? I love him, but he comes up with some wild stuff that I don't even know what this stuff means. I just hope it's not curse words. How long before someone compares the numbers between Jason, you're talking about Jason Solomon? So he says DT had 700 and Jason had 705. Oh, Don Tony might pass up Jason tonight in stats. Look, I say this being Anthony de Blasi right now, and I appreciate what he's saying. I know. He's not trying to start anything. What he's saying is that this channel is growing. And because it's growing, you know, it's just acknowledgement that, you know, we're doing something right. I will say this until Jason gives me a reason to piss me off, which he has never done for years and years, ever. Jason is one of the good guys. I'm friends with Mish. I'm friends with a lot of podcasters, including Jason. We're not close, but I'm friendly with him. And I say this with the utmost honesty. And he didn't send me no super chat for me to say this. We all, in our lifetime, every single one of us that have done podcasting, we have all fantasized working for a wrestling company. I've had the privilege to work for a few wrestling companies, doing different things. I even had the opportunity to manage a little bit. You know, I sucked, but I still had fun, crazy ass fun. Look at my Twitter profile. That's me pouring Ajax on Lowlife Louie's bloody head. Ajax, getting smashed with with beer bottles, glass beer bottles over my head, put through tables with thumbtacks, chair bashed, and I threw up all hours of the night. Maybe that's stupid on my part. My point is that people have asked me for 23 years, if a wrestling company wanted to hire you, would you do it? My answer has always been the same. As long as I could still do my regular office job, I would work for a wrestling company in a heartbeat. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but it's definitely something that I would always consider. But I'll say this, of anybody in podcasting land, and I know, I don't want to name any specific names, but I know that there's a few wrestling podcasters that are always asking promotions, consider me. I think sending a resume privately is the way to go. You know, when you're on social media, notice me, look at me, consider me this and that. I think that just comes off a little bit, you know, campy, in my opinion. But of all of the people that I have ever come across doing hotlines, podcasting, any of this stuff, Jason Solomonster is the one guy on the top of the list that I hope one day gets a job with AEW or WWE or a big, I know he does a little commentating for House of Glory, but that is a guy that if he were to get it, it would put the biggest smile on my face. That is a guy that has zero controversy attached to him, dedicated, works his ass off. And, you know, I hope he sees this, because over the years, people have always tried to pick fights with him and I know where it started. He knows where it started too. You know, it was just difference of opinion about something on TV, wrestling-wise. But that guy is a good guy, and I will never, ever, ever tell anybody out there, enjoy my show, don't enjoy his. There are a lot of you out there that check out my shows on a recap, on an archive, and tune into him live. If that's what you want to do, I have no angst, animosity, nothing. It's not about who could have the biggest numbers. Now, granted, people also need to remember Jason, JD, and a lot of others have been on YouTube for years and years and years. Some cases, some people have been on there for 10 years. I've been on YouTube for 7 months. So you cannot compare my numbers to anybody else's, because they have built their foundations here. They have built people's trust here. They have built their reliability here. You know, whenever people try to give me a guilt trip why I'm doing video, I sometimes will acknowledge them and say, why don't you ask all these other people, why are they doing video also? You know, so I have nothing but respect for him. JD and the others, we may not agree in our views on wrestling in a lot of cases, but I have nothing but respect for those guys. Those guys are dedicated, they work hard, plus they're authentic. They show you their face. They show you their eyes. When they say something that is very passionate, you could tell when someone is just being a character. You know, it's very easy to take shots and hide behind fake profile, fake pictures, no pictures, outdated pictures, but they have the balls to show themselves. And, you know, with Jason, when you see him doing his thing, there's a likability factor. You know, there's a big difference between seeing Jason and just hearing Jason. So those guys, I have nothing but respect for them. And I realize now how hard this is with the video stuff. It is hard, especially when you don't have moderators that you can trust that aren't going to just ban people for making a simple little insult. You have to do everything behind the scenes yourself because there is a lot of work. So I appreciate what you said. I thank you very much for the kind words. But, you know, until I get 50 or 100,000 subscribers, you cannot. Some people do that to me. They're like, ha ha, JD had 3,000. You only had 1,500. And I'm like, yeah, well, he's on YouTube for 10 years, got 100,000+ people. He should have a lot more than me. Everybody has different style. That's another thing. Everybody has different style. Brings something different to the table. Jason's style is totally different from mine, which is totally different from JD, which is totally different from Joe Cronin. It's totally different from Lee, Sanders. It's just everybody is different in style. So, but I appreciate what you said because that makes me feel good. People like these shows. Of course, you know, hit the like button. That would make me feel good as well. I know that's kind of corny, but you know, it's a good feeling to see people enjoying what you do. So, but so Jake Atlas gets annihilated from Tommaso Ciampa. By now, I had already put on YouTube, even before his match, he could be the next NXT Heavyweight Champion. And I personally think him being a monster heel, he takes the place of Karrion Kross right now as, you know, one of the top heels, possibly your next NXT Heavyweight Champion. I know a lot of people out there are rooting for Finn Balor. I don't know how many people are really rooting for Johnny Gargano in the match as well. And Adam Cole, you know, Adam Cole is going babyface. If you looked at the Undisputed Era today, it almost feels like when Triple H broke away from DX, but it's kind of the opposite because Triple H turned heel and DX was still, you know, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, X-Pac, they were pretty much baby faces still. This is different. I think Undisputed Era is going to end up attacking Adam Cole. Something is going to happen where Adam Cole is going to say, look, I don't need you guys. Let me do this on my own. And he's going to say it in a way that's going to piss them off, and then they're going to attack him. And that's going to turn Adam Cole into a babyface. Then you'll get to see Adam Cole versus Ciampa. Then you'll get to see Finn Balor versus Ciampa. Then you'll get to see some of the second-tier guys versus Ciampa. That's my early prediction for next week. It's just something that I felt even before they announced the match. I think Ciampa may be the I hate to use replacement, but a good, excellent replacement for Kross right now as a heavyweight champion. Santos Escobar retains the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, defeating Isaiah Swerve Scott. You know, Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza got involved in the match. Breezango came out, big brawl. In the end, though, Santos Escobar retains. And as somebody pointed out, street fight next week. Like I said, don't expect too many matches next week, especially with the hour. Tungoom wants me to do a keto mukbang live when I reach 20,000. What the hell's a mukbang? You know, don't even tell me. I'll look later. A mukbang. So, you know, I tell you, man, I'd love to get to 20,000 by the end of the year. Some people are telling me that it is doable. I mean, you know, we'll see. But what, you know, I'm too anxious. What the hell's a mukbang? Do a keto mukbang. Somebody, if you could type that explanation while I'm finishing up the recap. We're doing an hour 48, so we got 10 minutes left. Kyle O'Reilly over Drake Maverick. You know, it was actually a pretty damn good match, but I don't think anybody in their right mind right now thought that Drake Maverick was going to win this one. I think this was to set up a little bit more of the Undisputed Era, minus Adam Cole being heels. Oh, eating food on video? cloudy. Well, I could do that. I told you I'm going to actually record myself cooking some of my favorite keto recipes and some of my creativity. So I'm actually going to start doing that in about a week or two. I got a GoPro that I've never used. It's a GoPro 5 or the GoPro 6. I don't remember. I've never used it, but I have the straps. I can put it on my head, on my chest. So I'm going to record myself doing a little cooking. So very near future, some people want to see it. So anyway, we have, there was also some promos tonight. We had Candice LeRae talking about Tegan Knox and then talking about their history together. And, I don't know, as far as offering an olive branch, that storyline, we just had that with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. So too many olive branches being passed around at the same time right now. We had Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, with the olive branch very recently. Too many olive branches, in my opinion. So, but, they have to keep their stories alive. Right now, it feels, I think you all agree, it feels with some of those wrestlers, LeRae, Kai, and others, it feels like momentum is about to go on a steep decline. But the main event tonight, as I said earlier, Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley, they lose to Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Excellent match. Might be top 3 women's matches in NXT for the year so far. It was excellent. I mean, you could see why these women, with the exception of Raquel Gonzalez, because they really have not put that much behind her as far as like momentum. She's been more of like almost like a bodyguard than anything else. But I thought the same for Mercedes Martinez, and then out of nowhere, splat. So Raquel Gonzalez, feels like WWE is going to elevate her a little bit more, but it feels like Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley is your next feud. I don't know if anybody feels that, but as I was watching that match and seeing a little bit of, miscommunication and the vibes, I can't help but to think Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai. That is the next feud. Yeah, some people in the chat are saying the same thing right now. So, again, excellent episode of Dynamite. Excellent episode of NXT. As far as ratings wise, I got news for you, man. I'm going to take a little slug. I think NXT goes over 1 million. I think NXT does 1,025,000. That's a little too high. Maybe a quarter of it or two over 1 million. No, I'll go with 9. I'll go with the Porsche. I'll go with 944. I'm going to go with 904. No, it still feels high. I'll go with the other Porsche, 911. Okay, 911. I'm going with 911. The Porsche, not, the tragedy. I'm going to go with 911,000. We'll see what happens with the ratings, Again, unopposed. I think Dynamite is going to do an excellent number this week as well. Now, let's get into ratings from last week very quickly. Then we'll call it a night. Some people might find this very interesting. Want to get into NXT first because NXT was on a normal schedule. So, you pretty much, you look at, their ratings. This is more in tune of what Wednesday Night Wrestling would be. NXT for quarter 1 last week, which was Johnny Gargano versus Ridge Holland, that ended up being the highest quarter of the night. Once again, you remember what I said AEW has throughout the night this, and NXT has this? NXT was unopposed last week. They still had that. This is why I get into quarter-hour ratings. Other people don't. I do. They started off at 921,000 viewers. Quarter 2, which was the finish of Gargano Holland, and then Dakota Kai versus Jessie Camilla and Tegan Knox's promo, that dropped from 871, from 921 to 871. They lost 50,000 viewers. Next quarter, which was Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango and Isaiah Swerve Scott, that dropped to 848. So we've had 3 quarters decline. Quarter 4, which was the finish of that match, and then Undisputed Era, Pat McAfee, that the contract signing, went up a little bit from 848 to 873, but then it was downhill. Because quarter 5, which was the Undisputed Era, Pat McAfee, the rest of the contract signing, Mercedes Martinez and Aaliyah versus Rhea Ripley and Shotzi Blackheart, that dropped from 873 to 847. The remainder of that match, the women, which went the whole quarter 6, dropped from 847 to 779. Karrion Kross and Keith Lee, that video package that happened last week, and nobody will bring this up. And the beginning of Velveteen Dream versus Finn Balor, that went from 779 to 842. And then the last quarter, which was the remainder of Finn Balor and Velveteen Dream, increased to 863. So Velveteen Dream and Finn Balor had the biggest increase of the night. But if you look at those websites, they didn't point that out because they didn't want to give any props to Velveteen Dream. That's pretty obvious. So now we go to the AEW side. Now remember, this is Saturday night. This is following an NBA game. The NBA game went later than usual, and almost the entire show went up against NXT TakeOver. So when AEW ends up with 738,000 viewers, that's what they ended up with, 738,000 viewers. That is not a bad rating at all. In fact, that is pretty impressive. Saturday night, not their normal night, going up against TakeOver, and starting late, that was pretty damn good. Pretty damn good rating. So, first quarter hour, FTR versus Private Party. You know why Tony Khan never bragged on social media that it went over 1 million viewers, which it did? That first quarter hour did 1,002,000. You know why he never did that? Because he knew that a lot of people that were watching quarter hour just left their TVs on from the basketball game. Because quarter 2, the promo with Jon Moxley and MJF, and then the match between the Butcher, the Blade, the Lucha Brothers versus Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, QT Marshall, and Dustin Rhodes, that rating went from 1,002,000 down to 724,000, almost a 300,000 viewership drop. It's not because of the match. It's because people that were tuned into the NBA tuned off during the first quarter of AEW. That's what happened. So Private Party and FTR, they did technically 1,002,000, but everybody knew that there was a chunk of the audience still watching basketball. And when I go through the rest of the ratings, when they end up with 738, you'll realize that that first quarter hour actually helped them with the overall rating. So they did 1,002,000, dropped to 724, went all the way back up to 791 for the rest of the 8-man tag, Britt Baker and Penelope Ford segment, and Chris Jericho challenging Orange Cassidy. Problem is, the rest of the challenge with Jericho and Cassidy went from 791 down to 767. So they actually declined during that whole Mimosa Mayhem stuff. So next you got the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega versus the Dark Order. Believe it or not, that rating went from 767 to 712, which is very surprising for a Young Bucks match. I pointed that out in the past. Young Bucks matches usually increase ratings decent. This time it went down 55,000 viewers. You take away that first quarter that you have to exempt because of the NBA, that was the biggest drop of the night, believe it or not. So for quarter 5, they're at 712,000 viewers. Then you go to Darby Allin versus Will Hobbs, Matt Hardy attacking Sammy Guevara, as well as Thunder Rosa's promo. The rating went from 712 to 666. And then quarter 7, which was Ivelisse and Diamante versus Brandy Rhodes and Alley, dropped down to 640,000 viewers. That was the lowest quarter of the entire night. So when you look at AEW on Saturday and NXT on Wednesday, the lowest quarter for both shows was the women's match. It's not a sexist thing, but unfortunately, women wrestling does equal ratings. But depending on the program, depending on the wrestlers, and depending on the storyline, not all women fit that category. There's some few exceptions to the rule. But overall, women's wrestling is a tad less than their counterparts, their male counterparts. It's not a sexist thing. It's just facts. So we'll see where it goes from here. But the main event, which was Brody Lee versus Cody, and then the whole stretcher job, that went from 640 to 738. So that is the viewership. You know what? I think the viewership might actually have been slightly higher because of the first quarter hour. The point is that AEW, even though their rating was less than NXT, still very impressive. I said NXT would do 9/11. AEW, I have no idea tomorrow as far as what their rating's going to be. If you want a quick preview, you have the contract signing between Moxley and MJF. You have Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy in a tables match. Personally, I think that's going to end up in a clusterfuck because we have the pay-per-view in a week. Those two guys should be fighting on pay-per-view. So I think that ends in a bullshit finish that leads to pay-per-view. You have the Natural Nightmares and the Young taking on the Young Bucks, and Best Friends taking on FTR. Is that correct? No. You have the Nightmares versus the Young Bucks. The winner of that match will take on Best Friends, and then the winner of that match takes on FTR. That's how they're doing it. You have Brody Lee with his celebration being the TNT champion. You have a few other matches as well. One match that they're advertising is, I think, Britt Baker in a handicap match with not Mel, who is it? Reba. And then Penelope Ford. It's like a 3-on-1 with Big Swall. I could almost picture this from the beginning. Britt Baker is not going to get in that match. Britt Baker, every time they go to tag her, she's probably going to act like she's fixing her leg, she's not looking the right way, she's not ready, this and that. I don't see Britt Baker getting in that match tomorrow at all. No. And that will lead to a pay-per-view match Sunday. I think that is probably the way they're going to go. Tomorrow you're going to see teases. Teases for next Saturday. That's just my opinion. Now, tomorrow night, honestly, I was not planning on doing a live show. I got to check with Wrestling Soup to see what time they finish on Thursday nights, because I don't know if they finish by 10 o'clock, but if they do finish by 10 o'clock, I don't know. I think Roberto, I would definitely wear a Black Lives Matter shirt, but it's got to be the statement, not the group. Because, and we had a conversation about this on Patreon. I don't want to get political on this show, but, as far as it being a statement, yes. And I've said this before, Black Lives Matter just as much as any other lives out there. No matter what race, creed, or color, Black lives absolutely matter. The group, the foundation of itself, I think that has been hijacked by a lot of people, and destruction and revenge and anger. I grew up, which I don't think this should be based on color, but I grew up that you don't justify bad behavior with other bad behavior. You have to be above that. I don't blame people for hating cops. You know, what happened with that guy 2 days ago? What was his name? Jacob. Somebody please post his name. I can't remember his name right now. Jacob. It's right on the edge of my mouth. I saw after people are saying, oh, he was a child predator or rapist or this and that. Nobody, you don't justify shooting anybody in the back. If somebody has a criminal record or did something absolutely disgusting, that does not give anybody justification to shoot anybody in the back. I looked at that video, and to me, they should have, at minimum, tased that guy before he got to his car. Somebody out there, please post his name, because I'm drawing a little bit of a blank right now. But they should have tased him at minimum before Jacob Blake. Yes, that's right, Blake. They should have tased him before he even got to his car door. Now, I read tonight that they found a knife on the floor. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They found a knife. He should have never even been able to get to it. What'd you do? Wait till he got to the door to give you a reason to do that? I think, you know, I find it hard to believe that any cops wake up with the idea that they want to attack somebody who's black. But I think in this world, we have a lot of snowflake police officers. We have a lot of snowflake human beings, period. You know, I've been talking about the pussification of America for 20 years online. And the thing is that you have a lot of people who have been brought up over the last 20 years with a cushion always there to protect their fall. You even see it in social media. People have rough times. Instead of going out and getting a job, no, I'll just tweet that I'm having a rough time, that I'm not working, and I get all this shower of love instead of going out and getting a job. So people have been cushioned and protected. And the problem is, especially in some schools out there, you're taught a certain way, and then you go out in the real world, and how many people have you seen, and a lot of people watching this are younger, how many of you come across friends of yours are like, this isn't what I was told that this is going to be. I was told that I was going to have this when I get out of school, and I was going to have this. This isn't what it was supposed to be. So that happens in schools, in offices, construction, cops, firemen, doesn't matter. And the problem is that when you have almost a generation of snowflakes that are coddled and are being told or sold a bag of beans that ends up not being, you put a gun in their hand. I told you, back in the day when I used to go to clubs, you'd have people beating the shit out of people in clubs, and I remember a friend of mine who was a cop that got his ass kicked in the club. I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt, because I was there, never once did he ever think about pulling a gun or anything like that. He got into a fight over a girl and he got his ass kicked. He took it. He was embarrassed, but he took it. Now these days, getting your ass kicked equates to, I'm fearing for my life. That's what happens. When you have snowflakes in the world, you look what you see in schools. Little schools with little kids. You pull girls' hair, little kid. I did it in kindergarten. Pulled the little girl's hair. Now, when I was in kindergarten, I had a crush on her. And for some weird reason, you would just do mischievous stuff. Now these days, you're suspended. The parents are suspended. This and that. Everybody is so sensitive about the littlest of things. You do that and you put a gun in someone's hands, somebody who is about to get their ass kicked interprets it that, I'm fearing for my life, and then shoots somebody. There's a lot more going on in this world that people will not admit. But I also feel that the only way you resolve the police problem, and I'll be just 2 minutes and we'll get out of here. But the way you solve this police problem is, and I know some people are not going to like this, but this is just my opinion. You have to confront every dirty cop that does wrong to every person out there, not just black people. And I'll tell you why I say that. You have a bad cop that assaults a black person. It's all over the news. There's protests. There's big uproar. Black Lives Matter. I get it. When you see other dirty cops do that to white people, instead of confronting those cops and exposing them and showing the same amount of anger, it's, well, you know, that's a white person. They don't know what we went through, and we're always discriminated, and this and that. And they downplay, you know, that cop doing it to someone else. You have to be in just as much anger towards any cop that does wrong to someone. And when you have people out there that see that a black person's tragedy gets crazy press, but a white person's tragedy gets almost nothing, like that little kid that got killed a couple of weeks ago. That's not me, but I'm saying what a lot of people do online is, oh, you know, they only focus on this. And I also feel that the laws and the crimes and the jail and the sentences towards police officers that commit violence, those offenses, the penalties need to be increased. Because what I am worried about right now, and I talked about this earlier today on Patreon, you all remember Casey Anthony? And I'm only still talking about this because I see the numbers, the viewers going up, so I guess we could talk real for a minute. You all remember Casey Anthony? Remember that girl that was going clubbing and everything, and she was tied down? She had the little daughter that she just realized was interfering with her social life, and the daughter was found dead. They tried to say that she drowned in a pool, but there was internet searches about chlorophyll, whatever that is. All right, remember that whole story? Do you know why Casey Anthony got acquitted? She got acquitted because they accused her of murder one. When you're accused of a crime and you're convicted and found guilty, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. Any doubt whatsoever, even this little, not guilty. That's the way it goes. It's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. So instead of giving her murder two, not pre-planned, they went for the home run, murder one. And because there was a little bit of reasonable doubt, she got off. Now you see this George Floyd tragedy, and I've spoke out about this a lot. When they started talking about murder one, I started getting really, really scared and nervous, because if anybody knows what murder one is, you pretty much have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that officer that killed George Floyd premeditated and planned it. Now, everybody out there, you don't have to admit it publicly, but you say deep down inside, do you believe beyond a reasonable doubt that that guy woke up and planned to do that? So by charging murder one, with any situation, what about those two cops? That guy, that black guy that was in the car that was drunk. I don't remember his name. Maybe somebody could remember his name. He was drunk. He was at a Wendy's and he passed out. And the cops showed up and they tried to arrest him for DWI. Yes, he turned around with a stun gun, but they shot him and killed him. They charge him with murder one. Now, you overcharge, there is a really good chance that those cops are going to get off, because the jury's going to say they did not plan this beforehand. So when there's a little bit of doubt, they're going to get off. You charge someone murder one in George Floyd or murder one in this other tragedy, and it goes to a court and a jury finds that there is reasonable doubt that there was intention in this, they're going to get off, not guilty. There's no negotiating down to a lesser charge. Once it goes to trial, and that's the charge, if that's what they're charged with, they're going to be off. Could you imagine the riots and what's going to go on if any of these police officers are found not guilty? So this is why you need to increase the penalties for murder two, manslaughter, things like this. You know, I'm sorry that's not wrestling we're finishing with, but I'm just talking straight up real. And again, this is another reason why I like to do video. Once in a while, we could just be us, just friends talking about real life stuff. Rashad Brooks, thank you very much, Sam. Rashad Brooks. Shouldn't have turned around with the stun gun, obviously, but still did not deserve to die. But charging those officers with murder one, you're doing that to try to stop riots. You're doing that to try to give people in your community the false security that we're going to put every cop in jail. We're going to, sentence them to life. Murder one, murder one, murder one. Oh, they're finally taking it seriously. No. You're giving a bigger chance of that police officer being off the hook. And when that police officer is found out guilty, that person who originally charged murder one could blame it on the system, blame it on the jurors, blame it on society, blame it on everything else, instead of going for the lesser charge that you pretty much guarantee a conviction. That is scary, scary, scary. The last thing that I'll say as well is, we also need to understand, as far as like the world we live in, I don't know. We got to continue this another time because this will go on for an hour, and I'm just talking straight out how I feel about this stuff. It's terrible with what's going on, and it needs to stop. But it's really bad. Like I said, if you start researching these charges and research what's going on, you understand that although it may feel good, he's being charged with murder one, let him put him in jail for the rest of his life. And then you start looking at the case and you realize what you have to prove to get murder one. And then you find out this person is released. No, man. Nah, sometimes you gotta, just, you gotta just be common sense, not to try to stop riots, not to give people this false sense of security that, oh, no, we're taking it seriously. No cop is above anybody else, but you're overcharging people to give people some type of appeasement, and all you're doing is in the end going to make it worse. Some of those cops are going to be found not guilty if they're charged with murder one. A lot of tragedies, very hard to prove murder one. You watch forensic files and look at the wives killing their husbands while they're asleep and this and that, and a lot of times they're charged with murder too. And you look at these, you're like, what are you, nuts? She planned everything, she did this and that. And a lot of times it's murder too, because they're pretty much guaranteed a conviction that way. So, this is one thing I wanted to say too. And I know this is going to be unpopular. It's easy for me to say because I'm a white guy. But if you're a black person and a cop tells you to stop, your chances are you're never going to win that argument. Unfortunately, in our lifetime, whether you're white, black, straight, gay, whatever, there are people that are more powerful than us. Parents, you're not allowed to do that. You do that, taking everything away. Taking the car away, I'm grounding you, you're not allowed, no internet, no nothing. But Dad, you got to listen. Sometimes parents could be assholes, but they have authority, and you got to listen. You can't just bring it into your own hands. I'm going to do what I want. I learned the hard way. I walked out of my house and got a studio apartment. I was back home a month later. You go to court for any reason, traffic ticket, parole violation, drugs. You go to court and you start talking the way you want, no, judge, no. You talk out of place and you see what that judge does to you. You have to suck it up and shut up and listen. When you have a cop, I had a cop pull me over in Forest Hills about 20 years ago. I took out my friend's PBA sergeant card. Cop took the card and threw it in the bushes. Anybody that doesn't know about PBA cards, it's hard to explain now, but anybody that does know about PBA cards, you show a PBA card, 99% of the time, the cop will say, all right, listen, just be careful next time. Sometimes they take away the card. That's like your get out of jail free card. I got pulled over and I gave him the card. He threw it in the bushes. This cop was the biggest asshole. I had a cop pull me over for my black car, insisting I was speeding. I had a dash cam, recorded the whole thing. And if I would have known 6-7 years ago I was doing this stuff now, I would have put the video online. Pulled me over, insisted I was speeding. I was going under the speed limit, because I had a problem with my exhaust, and followed me all the way to this store. And once he saw my dash cam, he left. There are assholes that are cops. There are cops that know the power that they have, and they will belittle people. How many of you out there know any women that have said, wow, the biggest asshole I ever dated was a cop because he just wanted to control everything? But still, if a cop tells you to stop, if a cop tells you don't put your hands in your pocket, whatever it is, as much of an asshole they are, you got to listen, because you're not going to win your argument. All right? This guy that got shot, Jacob Blake, did not deserve to get shot in the back 7 times. I don't care. I do care with the accusations about the child stuff, but still, that doesn't give you, the justification for shooting him in the back 7 times. So the thing is that when a cop pulls you over, whether it's the first time or the 100th time, you gotta listen, because chances are you're not winning that argument, and you're putting yourself in a situation that you do not know. You do not know what that cop is going on in his head. He might be a strong cop that, may allow you to push his buttons and it doesn't go anywhere. And you might be dealing with Fragile Rock. You might be dealing with a cop that is so fragile, you get into a little tiny skirmish and that person pulls their gun on you. You can't assume the other person that has the badge, whether it's court or a cop or your parents. If somebody has more power, even if you know that you're 100% right, if you're 100% right, in the end, you'll get justification. You'll get redemption, but you can't, and you're not going to win. You're not going to win. How many people that have been stopped from the cops do what they want to do anyway, and they end up going home? Yeah, see? Told you I was right. Yeah. How many times does that happen? Doesn't happen. You got to be careful. You don't know who is on the opposite side of that badge. It could be a tough son of a bitch. It could be Fragile Rock. You cannot assume. You got to stomp that. There's a lot of jerks out there, with power. Military. Go in the military. Go in boot camp. Start talking back to your drill sergeant. I went to boot camp, and I saw 2 people kill themselves because of what was going on in boot camp. This was back in 1988 when I was a teenager. And you try to talk back and see what happens to you. Some people, you got to just suck it up, grind your teeth, and just let the situation go. Because once it dies down and you walk away, that's it. You still got your life. You still got, everything. So this was Don Tony Real tonight. This is not just, wrestling sometimes, but, like I said, I get the opportunity once in a while to talk real life with everybody out there. I don't know, if you agree with everything that I said. And yeah, it's easier for me to say because I'm a white guy, but I see what's going on out there and I'm very concerned. And I hope it gets better. I really do. It's terrible, some of the stuff that's going on, but, you just gotta, like I said, even though some people think that I'm an asshole because of my solo future doing this stuff, but, I treat everybody how I want to be treated. I have a lot of friends in my personal life that are all shapes, sizes, creeds, colors, sexual orientations. Nobody cares about that. Everybody treats each other the way they want to be treated. And when you act that way and you feel it in here, the other person you're talking to, you don't see that person as a black person. Of course, my friend Stanley, I know he's a Jamaican guy with dreadlocks. It's right in front of me, and he knows I'm a white Italian guy from my neighborhood. But we don't judge each other based on that. We judge each other on how we talk to each other and always look out for each other. How's the family? How you doing? How's everything going? If any of you out there ever sign up on our Patreon, just go in the search box and type in the word Stanley, and you'll see a video of me and this guy Stanley I'm friends with. He's about 10 years older than me. He's got dreadlocks, he's missing teeth, and he's been in my family's house, had lunch, and, you know, we talk about racism, and we talk about something that happened in my neighborhood with him that I saw with my own eyes. And it was very raw, very real. You get to see a little bit of yours truly in real life. So, you know, you treat people like you want to be treated. This social media stuff, all it is a place to hide. That's all it is. People realize that on social media, they could write a certain way and talk a certain way, and they do it long enough, they become larger-than-life superheroes to other people. One day, you might find out that they were nothing but a fraud. You see, who was the guy? I'm trying to remember who it was. There was somebody who was, I know who it was. There was a guy who really did put the Fire Velveteen Dream picture on WWE television last week. The guy who really did it, he had proof that he did it. But if you go on social media, there was 2 other people that claimed they did it themselves, and they photoshopped in the little left-hand corner that box and reversed it. Photoshop, 2 buttons, and the thing's reversed. And they had about 1,000 people liking their post because they thought they actually did it. They actually were calling one of those 2 people a hero, and he lied. People are very gullible to believe everything that they see online, and that's tempting. That's addicting. That's addictive. So, you know, that's why I say, you know, you see people in real life and you see their eyes. You could tell when somebody is just lying through their teeth or just saying something just to get hits or attention. You know, there's a lot of bad shit going on in this world, but, you know, we're not going to be able to change the world. You know, individually we can, but you also got to understand that, you know, there's some things you just got to accept. You just got to accept. You know, my father, big Trump supporter, doesn't like Trump as much as he used to. But my father had Trump signs out in 2016, and I've told the story before. Somebody rang my father's doorbell at 2:30 in the morning, telling my father that something was on fire in front of his house. He looked over. This giant Trump banner was in flames, tied to his porch awning. That person rang the doorbell, and my father took out a fire extinguisher and blew it out and put it out. There was a good chance that it could have set the house on fire. My father thanked the person, and the girl started crying, and she admitted she's the one that started the fire. My father didn't press charges. But since that day, my father shows 0 signs. No Trump signs whatsoever. I don't know if he wants to vote for Trump right now. I don't talk politics with him anymore. The point is that, you know, back then I had a conversation and I told him, like, you cannot show this publicly because people are just going to burn it, key your car, slash your tires. There's so much hatred. You just got to keep, there's certain things you can't do. You got to just accept it. But I live in a free country. I should have the right. I have freedom of who I want. You can't. My brother had a bumper sticker in 2016 of Trump. They keyed the whole back of his truck because of it. Just the way it is. So, you know. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. And, you know, look, you know, when you leave your comments in the comment box, you're more than welcome to talk about anything that I just said this last half hour. You know, sometimes you need some real life combo, and you basically got yours truly just straight up honest and some of my views on things. And that's why, like I said, I always wanted to do this video too, because some people painted a certain picture of yours truly for 20 years. You knew nothing about me. So, you know, this is what it is. But all right, everybody, I'm out of here. I'll be back Friday night. As we were talking before about AEW, I was thinking about it. I'm just going to do some AEW recap during Friday night, this episode of the Don Tony Show. We'll talk SmackDown. We'll talk AEW Dynamite. We'll have the NXT rating already. And maybe I'll have the quarter-hour breakdown as well. I'm definitely going to take off tomorrow. I got to still do the Patreon contest for SummerSlam. Haven't had a chance to with everything else going on. But you're more than welcome to... You're more than welcome. Well, Ken, the reason why my father didn't press charges is because the woman, stopped the house from burning down. Second thing is that I think he was afraid that it would have been a major news story. And I don't think he wanted his house, his address, and everything all over the TV. Look at Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville got the court to seal the records because some of the documents featured her address and other things, and she don't want that stuff out there. So, one day soon we'll have an episode where we'll just talk everything real life. I'll let you guys dictate what you want talked about. You can pick my brain on views of stuff. This happens a lot on Patreon. Our patrons know what I'm talking about, but yeah, we'll do one soon. And we'll just pick a day where there's nothing really going on, and we'll shoot the shit for a few hours. Yeah, that's curse number 3, I think. 3 or 4. I got it down to 3 or 4 every episode, so. But everyone have a great night. Much love as always, and I will catch you Friday. A lot of shows. Think about that. Since last Friday. Friday, 3 on Sunday, that's 4. Monday is 5. Today is 6. Friday will be 7. So we did 7 podcasts in 7 days. So I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Much love, everybody. I'll catch you all again Friday night, right after SmackDown. Ciao.
Don-O-Mite.
It was fun to channel surf. It was kind of hard to do a little pocket pool after you hitting the last channel button 50 times for 2 hours plus.
Don-O-Mite.
And his whole idea of overanalyzing, oh, he's an alcoholic and he misplaced the belt. And how could you have someone champion like that? The fuck out of here.
Wednesday night.
Don-O-Mite, you can have fun. You really are.